Check me out on what's the website?
The number, what is it?
Say what?
You gonna put it on
the number Y?
Yeah, the YouTube channel.
Don't post this joint on my page until I see it.
Alright. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll probably just post it up on the number Y. You know what I mean? So before I tag anybody in it. Alright, first question is I want to know y'all statuses. Y'all relationship status. And if you want to, you can announce your name as well. Starting with the gentleman right here.
There. As much as I don't like that status complicated, I have to say mine is complicated because I am legally married. I live with my wife, but I've been sleeping on my couch for the past 8-9 months now. She does what she wants, when she wants, goes and comes when she pleases. And just as early as today, I call her 8 times because it's something real important. When she finally answers the phone, she's huffing and puffing. Been off of work for the past 2-3 hours, so I like to say I'm separated, but not legally, not until June when my lease is up.
Okay. So you pretty much stuck in the little.
I'm stuck in purgatory.
I got you.
I'm Tyson, and me personally, my situation is I'm similar to your situation, basically the same thing, but we're not legally divorced, but we've been separated now for 3 years. 3 years, well, really 5, but 3 that I knew about, and we're process of getting a divorce. We just hadn't got it official yet, so that's where I'm at.
Alright, I'm TT, and I don't want to say complicated, but I have a girlfriend that's in the Army, so that's complicated. I say complicated because, because we're talking about marriage, but it's not solid yet, so I say complicated.
What exactly makes it complicated? Is it the distance?
The distance, my downfalls, and the distance.
Yeah.
My name's Raheem. I'm married. No complications.
My name's Natasha, and I'm in a committed relationship.
My name is Crystal, and I am single.
I didn't even think about that. But now currently, and it might be wrong because I'm not legally divorced, but I'm in a committed relationship, new committed relationship. I would say fresh.
Oh, okay.
Yes, fresh, new thing. Something I'm looking forward to. I'll put it that way.
Understood.
Yeah.
I know. What are y'all views on monogamous relationship? Meaning like, what does that mean to y'all?
One man, one woman, or whoever, just 2 people together with an agreement to be faithful to each other. That's what I believe monogamy is.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Now, do y'all, any of y'all do or not believe that monogamy is a necessary process for marriage? And if so, how so?
I got a kind of controversial answer for that because I'm Muslim. I was born and raised Muslim, so the views on that, you know what I'm saying? Because like where I come from, there's no boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. You know what I'm saying? You have an intended. You know what I'm saying? So y'all intend to get married. You talk. They're never alone. You always have a third party. You know what I'm saying? Around, and you just get married, and that's when you grow. Once you get married, so like, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I came up in America, so the culture is very different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, between the two, because I feel like now, before I even, you know what I'm saying, like my situation now, I be girlfriend before, you know what I'm saying, we even started talking about next step. So it's kind of, back and forth.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anybody else got any views on that? Yeah.
I do. I feel like monogamy is necessary. I think it's really a natural thing or human nature for a person in a relationship or commitment to expect to be that one person. It's almost instinct for someone to feel offended or neglected or betrayed whenever, someone steps out, to others in a relationship.
Okay. Now, I noticed that you said natural. Now, some people believe that monogamy is unnatural, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how can you respond to that? Or how would you respond to that?
I would disagree that it, as far as it being unnatural, because my views are, like I said, it's just human nature, a natural thing for someone to expect to be that one person to someone else, because it does complicate things when there are others involved in the situation, especially if it's committed and then there's intimacy involved and all that stuff, because not everybody has a lifestyle. There's more people to answer to, more confusion, in my opinion.
So, do you think so? By natural and by unnatural, ideal is that it wasn't always, this process. Like the ideal of being in a relationship wasn't necessarily the ideal. You know what I mean? Like we put it as monogamy. We have a title for it now. You know, time down the line, they don't believe that it was always that way. It was just something that was, it was like an engagement. When you engage in conversation, it's not necessarily a commitment being, delivered, but just more so something that's taking place. So, do you still hold on to your beliefs as far as it being natural?
I still do, because honestly, I of course couldn't relate to those times, and what that was like and how people even responded to that type of lifestyle, but I still feel the same way about it.
And that's something to put in that. I think what that boils down to when it comes to monogamy is that I would say like probationary period. I think that's where it comes from. They, we're gonna see if we can commit. Let's try this before we seal the deal. Mm-hmm. So I think that's basically where that title comes from. Like you said, engagement. When you engage, you're basically saying you're married, but we're giving it that time to see. So I think it's natural in a sense for people to want to know or have that confidence in their other, their other one, other significant other or whatever, and so I think that's the natural part of wanting that part of the relationship before it comes to marriage. But to get to that point, you got to be friends enough to even deal with that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like you come into a relationship, say it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter what I do. We're gonna chop it up, grow together. Then if you get to that point of we're gonna commit to just us now before we get married, okay. So I believe it may be levels.
I think
I believe it's levels to it.
Like when people say to add, what I'm saying? When people say the difference between the biggest difference between monogamy and marriage is sex. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, that's the biggest problem. You know what I'm saying? People, well, you can be together, but wait until you get married to, to take it to the next level or whatever. So I think that's like what determines, what I'm saying, whether or not it's natural or not, in my opinion.
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I believe in monogamy. I do, but I don't know if I would say it's natural because I feel like you have to work on it, so it's not coming natural because you have to work on being monogamous in your relationship because everyone's human. Like as a female who's attracted to men, I can't say that I'm only attracted to the guy that I'm with, but I know that that relationship is worth working on, so I have to do what I have to do as my part to be faithful in that relationship. So I believe in monogamy, but I don't think that it's a natural thing because you have to work on it.
Right, and that's what I was going to touch more on. Natural being something that you don't have to put effort into, almost like breathing. You know what I mean?
Can I add to that?
Please.
as far as like the natural aspect of it, without getting like, all scientific and all, but even if you look back at it from back in the day, when we were just simply hunters and gatherers, there was one male and one female and then a brood of children because, one male can't hunt and gather for multiple females and multiple broods of children. So that's why I really think is a natural design. I mean, not to get biblical, but I mean, even on the biblical aspect, and just from some of the things Crystal said earlier, I experienced and I'm still experiencing all of those feelings from that natural feeling being offset from someone being the opposite of monogamous, someone stepping out on me, you know. So I think it's totally natural, and everything we experience on a certain level is natural. To be with someone, love them, and be attracted to them, but also to have attractions outside of who you're with is natural. It's what you do with those feelings that make it natural or unnatural.
So,
and that's just my personal opinion.
Now, with all that being said, can y'all not hear how unnatural, this monogamy is and can be? You know what I mean? So there is no necessarily right or wrong. Don't want to say there's a right or wrong, but I do, want to put that out there that the differences of experiences and views and what I mean, and sources kind of proves that there's there's an unnatural thing about it, what I mean, and there's also a natural thing about it. You know what I mean?
I wanted to add on to what she said about having to work on being monogamous, and that's what makes it unnatural. That's what separates couples from successful couples from unsuccessful couples, and also separates the people who don't get married from the people that do get married. It's because two people came together and they were able to work it out. Monogamy isn't for everybody or every combination of people. Like, the person you're with may not be the person that you're supposed to be with. So that monogamy is going to be hard to make work. So the one that makes everything easier and everything, we're overusing this word natural, but make it feel like it's just supposed to be, that's what will make you monogamous. That's what will make you take that next step into marriage. So we're supposed to have these conflicts with people over monogamy, so you know who you're supposed to be with. So the ones that make everything a lot easier and a lot smoother, that's who you're supposed to be with. That's where monogamy doesn't even have a title. You're just being.
So it's more about connection.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, my outlook or my summary of that, like I was saying, like we all saying, I believe, I think the natural part of monogamy is the fact of wanting to know if this person is the one for you, if they're going to be the one to commit, or if you are strong enough and you really want to be committed to that person. I think that's the natural part of monogamy, without taking that leap into marriage, But up until then, it's like almost like starting out from, do you like me? Yes or no? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From early stages is what I mean.
What I wanted to get into, man, I wanted to ask is and was marriage a goal? And if it is, why? And if it was, why?
It was a goal for me coming up in my household with my mother and my grandparents. My grandparents was married 50 some odd years before he passed away. So I might have not seen it with my mother and father, but I seen it with my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? So that was always implanted in my head. And I also wanted, my mother and father to be together and married. So my want for my parents to be married and together, and to see that with my grandparents, that's why marriage was, something that was in the fundamental of me and what I want to do with my life.
I'm gonna a whole other spectrum of that. On a whole other side, I guess, because marriage is like a natural goal coming up. But that was, I mean, I looked forward to it. I looked forward to it until I hit about 12 or 13. That's when I said, it came out of my mouth. Because I was already in my head, but it came out of my mouth and I said, I'm not getting married. Never getting married. Because I've never seen a marriage, I've never seen a successful marriage. Never in my life. So, and then the aftermath of that, all the, drama, and it's just a waste of money, I thought. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of, credit, everything. So I got to the point where, until recently, very recently, and I actually started thinking about marriage again. But yeah, when I was brilliant, I said, I'm not going to get married.
Anybody else want to comment on that?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a goal. I would rather say like maybe a thought from time to time. Is it possible? Will it be possible? You know what I mean? And what the day would be like. You know what I'm saying? If I ever proposed or got married. Because, I mean, with my situation, my household, I wasn't there when my mom got married. Nor did I know she was getting married. It's one day she left, next day she came back. Hair gone, ring gone. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of a shock that we wasn't involved in that. So really, small thought.
It was a goal and a dream of mine ever since I was little. I mean, not to keep beating up the word natural, but it just always felt natural, to, finish school, get a job, meet a girl, fall in love, get married, have children, and be happily ever after. I mean, it was just always a natural thing for me, and I still have that goal to do that one day.
I think for me, just watching, relationships and marriages around me, I've seen successful ones and I've seen unsuccessful ones, and that it would just make me think what made those ones successful, and what made the ones not successful, And to me, you see people in relationships for 5, 6, 10, 12 years, living together, doing everything that married people do, but they are not legally married. So why not? So I look at it like that. Like if it's a lot of people living in a married, state, but they're not legally married. So I think it may be a goal for a lot of people, but for me personally, it would be a goal. That would be an ultimate thing to find that one person that you can spend the rest of your life with, like your companion, your support, your best friend, your soulmate. I think everybody wants to. I want to experience that, and that's usually the traditional American thought process, in my opinion.
Right. Well, y'all kind of answered the what are your views on marriage, but I'll just ask that plainly, just in case anybody has any, that provokes any thought.
Marriage is beautiful. It is very beautiful. Very beautiful thing if the two are willing to work to make it beautiful, keep it beautiful, maintain it throughout the seasons of life. Yes, it can be very beautiful.
Right. Oh, you can say shit.
Yeah.
It's all good. What has prevented you from being married?
Before I met my lady now, I thought like it was hard for me to really trust, you know what I'm saying, females, because of the titles that they were given and then the area that I grew up in. So I ain't really get to meet her before I met her, or her kind, so I say. But pretty much trust, you know what I'm saying, not trusting them and not trusting myself, you know what I mean? That's it.
Word.
I think a lot of people don't believe in marriage. I think that's a reason why people don't get married. I mean, from my perspective, I feel like marriage is a lot of people make it seem like it's such a hard thing. And like she said, it's people who live a married life every day. I mean, I can say that I live a married life. Me and my fiance, we live together. We do everything that married people do. We just don't have a certificate saying that we're married. And I think people, when they hear marriage, are like, oh my gosh, that's going to change everything. And to me, marriage is just a piece of paper if you're already in a committed relationship. Like, marriage is a committed relationship. That's what it is.
Question. Not for you, for her. Honestly, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Natisha.
Can you honestly say nothing changes after you're married?
No, because I've been married before.
So nothing changes at all?
No.
Attitude stay the same?
I've heard
one.
different.
I got
I
one.
mean,
I
that's
definitely got something to say
when
on
I
that.
when I say nothing has changed, I mean nothing changed. Like the person I was married to, and me and myself, we haven't changed. But people get married and they feel like stuff has to change, so that's what makes it change. So if you're already in a committed relationship, you live together, you might have children together, you guys share responsibilities, you're living a married life, and then you get married, and then people get scared like they're supposed to do something different when there's nothing different you have to do. You just made your relationship. You made it official. You took it to the next level, but you're supposed to. Everything is still supposed to be the same, but people have this perception that things are supposed to change, so that's why they change. It's not that the person changes, just that they're thinking that something has to be different now because I'm married, but that's not really the case.
I want to touch on that. I don't really think the dynamic of the relationship actually changes, but that door goes away in your mind to leave. The option to that freedom, it kind of goes. So when you arguing with a woman that you in a relationship with, you don't feel like I can't go or I don't have no freedom. When you married, it's like, and then I'm married. You know what I mean? I don't got the option to be like, I'm gonna go sleep at my mother's house. You know what I'm saying? I gotta deal with this. And is it big enough to walk away from? Like, a marriage is different from walking away from than walking away from your girl.
Question. I'm sorry to cut you off. But what if you wasn't married, but you were feeling that way in a relationship?
That you couldn't walk away?
Exactly.
It's still not the same. It's still not the same. It's not the same as just having a girlfriend and feeling like you can't walk away versus being married.
What makes it not the same?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I think makes it not the same but different. I believe when she take it to God, and because that's what really is the marriage, like the real deal part of marriage. I think that's what really takes that, like you said, that door.
Mm-hmm.
Takes that doorway to just, because then y'all done came together, not only y'all's agreement, now we agreed together with God. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what makes it that all the way you in that now. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what makes the difference between that relationship. Because you're right, I know people, we all know people live that life or, don't have the title, but they living just as good or better than some people with the title.
True.
Also, when you walk away from a marriage, you got a title. You divorced.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that your marriage wasn't a success. So there's you're looking like you were unsuccessful at this. Whereas when a relationship doesn't work, you're still the same person. Or even better, because you're like, okay, I can try it against someone else. But being divorced, that's a whole nother spectrum of it.
It's stigma is what it's
There's a whole nother stigma. So
that resume, taint.
I mean, that's why they look at it like that with credit. Even banks look at marriage, divorce as a hit to your credit.
Mm-hmm.
You broke a contract. They look at it like you broke a contract.
You business partner.
Well,
Yeah,
that's how they look at it.
Well,
in the corporate world.
Do you think that it's it sounds psychological to me?
Yeah.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because if you're married, right, and it's not the state, and no disrespect to anyone else. It's not God's decision or choice neither. It's the two people. It's a choice. So the two people who made that choice, right, to get married should also have that choice to unmarry without feeling like there's some kind of track record to this. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, you want to respond on that?
I very much so do. As far as like it being the difference between being in a committed relationship and being married, and does the marriage change things? I gotta say it all depends on all parties involved's frame of mind and what you're looking to get out of this marriage thing. Because, and I can only speak from my own personal experience. I was in a long-term committed relationship in which I wanted to marry the mother of my child, but for a long time she didn't want to do it. And then finally she gave in to do it. And I can look back on it now and say, you know what? I totally understand and can respect on a certain level why you didn't want to get married. Because you didn't want to be faithful. You didn't want to go before God, make this commitment, and continue doing what you were free to do in our committed relationship. There was no judge and jury. There was no commitment, in the relationship. So once we got married, again, my own personal experience, it changed everything because I could see the turmoil and the battle that she was going through, once we went from, being in a relationship, whatever you do is kind of fine because it's between you and you, to now it's between me, you, and God, what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's a difference. Once you cross that threshold from relationship to marriage, and it's not for everybody.
Right. Now, back to what I was saying. Earlier, I can't remember exactly what it was, but someone mentioned something along the lines of third parties.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah,
Can
it's
you
good.
turn the camera? I feel like I'm like I feel like a whole lot of
I got to do this out, man. This was catching But what I was pretty much saying was that somebody had mentioned something about, complication with third parties or more people involved, than should be. And it sounds like the ideal of God is actually is forcing a third party in the relationship. Because I noticed that, Ra, and you mentioned that it's a commitment before God. And in order to make that commitment, before someone else, you have to have that belief in the one that you're pledging before. You know what I'm saying? Those same commitments as well. And that doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that's getting married, the two might not be getting married, because of, the pledge before God, but it could just be because of the importance that this other person is to them. And then also following those, I guess, the guidelines of marriage, because you're not officially married unless, the state or, the country deems.
Honoring the commitment between each other.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't look at it as doing something before God. I just looked at it as a commitment between me and the woman that's going to be my wife. I didn't look at it that way. But I know a lot of people do, and it has to do from a religious aspect.
Right.
They look at it that way. I didn't look at it as a religious aspect. And that was like the biggest thing, because I'm like me being gay, you know what I'm saying, growing up. That was probably the biggest, like, finish it off. You know what I'm saying? I already knew I wasn't getting married when I was younger, and then when I grew up and became, came out or whatever, and I was like, okay, it's illegal. I'm definitely not getting married. You know what I'm saying? And then now that was a big prevention of marriage, and then that was like comes to my own personal beliefs on it to finish it off, because my biggest opinion, this is very controversial because of my lifestyle, because you have to get married under religion. There's no religion that permits getting married. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know what I'm saying? That's just it. So I'm like, that's another battle.
Right, which I wanted to also touch up on. If marriage wasn't something that you had to get permission for, do you think that y'all would still, or those who were interested, would still be as interested in it? What I mean is, if you could get married just between you and your partner, for example, if y'all can look at each other and say, you know, we're married, y'all had that agreement, that's that. And that's the title that y'all carried yourself, and y'all express that however y'all decided to. Not necessarily with a wedding or filling out a form, you know what I mean, that's tying y'all into this, right? And then giving y'all these strict, you know what I mean, in other words, making it complicated for you to get out of it. You know what I mean? Would you still be interested in it? You know what I mean? If you could express your marriage just between the two of you, however you decided to.
I think a lot of people be married if it was like that, and that's kind of what makes marriage. The complications to getting married, but it's that big leap, that big jump, everything changes. You know what I'm saying? So that way, if you just can go between, you know, you and your partner, like married, be a bunch of married people, a whole lot more divorced people, and it wouldn't have the weight that it carries, and it wouldn't have the significance if you could do it that way.
You don't think so? Anybody else?
I think that's what that goes back to monogamy. So basically, it's just that commitment between two people without like really getting religious about it, you know, or anything. Just, you know, we human, we together, we gonna try this out, we gonna do this. Versus we going to God with this, or doing the legal way, or what, you know. So I think it takes it back to monogamy, or that commitment between just two people. And I don't see why people wouldn't.
Because see, marriage doesn't necessarily, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you disagree, please. But marriage doesn't necessarily mean that you're committed. It doesn't say you're committed at all. You know, it just says that you paid for this title.
For sure.
Right. And if you decide to get out of it, you have to pay quadruple more, you know, to get out of it. Right? And can anybody agree or disagree? Matter of fact, does anybody disagree? I think that would be more interesting.
I mean, marriage may not necessarily, you know, mean, you know, period, point blank, at the end of the day, if you get married, it's because you want to be committed. I mean, it's just no getting around it. You don't get married to
Not be committed.
not be committed. You don't get married to have, you know, threesomes and orgies with other couples.
I have a statement on that. I have seen arranged marriages where it's more like a business marriage contract type of thing. I have seen that. It's not really a traditional thing, but I have seen that where I agree with you, Barry, totally. You know, but I have seen it, you know, utilized other than just for commitment purposes.
That's true.
That kind of thing too. So we have a lot of different purposes behind marriage. Some people might want to get legal, you know, green card. You know, people do contracts and stuff like that.
Somebody might want to get the, you know, that divorce money.
Yeah.
I might want to marry.
People use marriage for other things besides commitment.
Yeah.
People get married for their own selfish reasons. People get married because maybe to them they're supposed to be married. They might not want to be married to this person, or they're not committed to that person, but they feel because the look, the appearance, like I'm supposed to be married, so I'm gonna get married regardless of if I want to be in this marriage, if they want to be in this marriage. But some people do it to benefit themselves for whatever reason it is. If it's because that other person has money, or they feel like the other person has something on them and they really want to get married. People just get married for so many reasons, and commitment to me, it seems not to be the reason why marriage is happening that often now.
Yeah.
Let me just say this one thing, man. If that's fine and dandy, Sure enough, but my thing is if I'm going to pull a nail out of a piece of wood, I'm not going to get my screwdriver because it's nothing for my screwdriver to bite on. I'm going to get my hammer. If you don't want a commitment, if you don't want the things that marriage entails, then do not do it. I can't stress
No, I
that
believe
enough.
that, but I just
You know,
feel like
I agree.
people have lost the sight of what marriage really is
Yes.
nowadays. So that's why marriage is not working. So that's why a lot of people don't want to get married because they see these marriages who wasn't based on commitment and they're looking to that as like that's
the foundation.
yeah.
Of what
So
marriage
if
is.
I see everybody who was around me, they got married for other reasons besides commitment. Of course, I'm not going to want to get married because I don't want to end up like them. So I think that that's a reason why people don't get married or they're afraid of it. They will live 10, 20 years with someone and be committed, but they will not get married because just when you think about marriage, it's not the same as it used to be.
And that's fine with all the people on God's green earth. There's someone for everyone. There's someone who says, a male that says, I don't want to get married. I don't want to deal with that commitment. I guarantee if you look for it, there's a female that feels the same way. There's a man that wants to get married, that wants to have a family, a successful life. It's a female out there that wants the same thing. I say we as people, we should get with our likenesses. We should get with who has, similar or the same views and stop making mistakes like myself. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I gotta say something about that. But responding to Barry, I believe you are what you attract. Point blank period. And if you carry yourself like you don't want to be in a relationship or want to be married, then your counterpart, it's gonna show, and it's not gonna be a successful marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were talking about before, that's how we carry ourselves. You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I carry myself. Like, I don't carry myself like I'm not married already. You know what I'm saying? I'm preparing myself for that for that moment. You know what I'm saying? So when it do happen, I don't get cold feet. You know what I'm saying? I don't wake up in the middle of the night, cold sweats, like, yo, where I'm at. Is this for real? You know what I mean? Like, heart pounding. Like, what did I just do? Because I'm molding myself, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm a good dude, but I'm molding myself to be, you know what I'm saying, the head of my household. And biblical standpoint, that's it. I mean, if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in anything religious, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the covenant. God gave us that covenant. When he created Adam and Eve, like, that was a covenant. One woman, one man. You know what I'm saying? And I believe in that.
There's someone for everybody, right?
What?
What if that meant that the someone isn't necessarily an opposite counterpart, right? What if that someone, I'll just say for me, I don't know. What if the someone for me was another man, right? And suppose it went that way with. So come on, man. Right. Powerful statement. So suppose that's true though. You know what I mean?
I'll be saying,
Right.
I'd be like, yo, I never found that one.
But what if on top of that, what if we knew that? Suppose we knew that the person, that one person that was for us was of our opposite sex. Is that a and you could get that?
Was not of the opposite sex.
Okay, yeah. Well,
so it was the same.
It was the same sex, right? So would you, and knowing the happiness that you could feel with your soulmate, right? If that's the goal, could y'all or could anyone make that? Could anyone make that transition for that happiness?
I think this is the answer for me and But
Says
okay, when it first hit me, you know, that the household that I came up from was a Muslim household, strict Muslim household. We could not watch TV during the week. You know what I mean? We had to read, study. You know what I'm saying? It was like a stable household. First of all, I came from my father had more than one wife, legally. You know what I mean? Religiously. That's first of all, that's a huge responsibility. If he didn't have the money he had, he wouldn't have done it. Because if you buy one wife a house, you got to buy all your wives a house. You know what I'm saying? You get this wife one thing, you can treat this wife this way, you got to treat all. So that's like, it stretches yourself out. So I don't recommend that for a lot of people. There's some people that are strong enough, they have the mindset to do it, but it's not for most people. You know what I mean? So with me growing up from that household, you know what I'm saying, and their views or their religious views on my lifestyle now, it was that's the hardest battle I think I've ever had to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because, and it's a big chunk of my family that still don't, or I still haven't had that discussion before. You know what I'm saying? So me finding that one, and then like I had female other girlfriends before. I'm like, well, I'm gonna meet your mom. They want, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's out of respect. I don't do that because I already know. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna meet. I just tell them straight, you're not gonna meet my mom. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna meet family members, but you're not gonna meet my mom. You know what I'm saying? I tell my girlfriend, my current girlfriend is now. You know, she's away in the army, and that's the biggest reason. That's why we bring marriage up, because she's away in the army. So the only reason we're gonna have to make that work is if I'm, you know, either in the army or married with her. You know what I'm saying? So that's like when y'all bring up the alternative motives for marriage. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So that's the hard battle too. But I know I'm happy with her. You know what I'm saying? I know she's, you know what I'm saying, because I've had many relationships. This is probably the strongest like friendship or bond I've ever had with another significant other. You know what I'm saying? So I did and I will make that transition, you know, to answer the question.
Anybody else could y'all do that for happiness?
I think
it's kind of hard to say because we don't have that feeling. So I mean, I'm in love with love. So if I whoever that person is, it just so happened to be a man for me. So I can't really say if it was a female, but I just feel like it's a double standard too, because if you hear that a guy is in love with another guy, it's like, oh my gosh. But it's more accepted for a female to be in a relationship with another female. You don't get the same reaction. But I think if whatever makes you happy, and it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, well, I tell you straight up, on camera. Hell no.
I'm saying
I ain't trying to make that transition at all.
I'm you know, with a bowl of Syrian cartoons, bro. If it's gonna result in something like that.
But on another, if I met a man that nah, I don't. I'm with y'all now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. The way my mind is set up, it's hard for me to, you know, put that in perspective.
Yeah. What do you believe it takes to get married and stay married?
Understanding that person.
He said loyalty.
Communication.
I agree.
Communication.
Faith, believe.
Being on the same
Bank
page.
Bank account.
Respect for yourself and each other.
Self-respect, mutual respect.
Yeah.
I would say one of the two main things. I know my granddaddy told me, and before he passed, you know, him and my grandmother were married for 50, 60 years, something like that. And he said, you gotta have confidence in each other, you know. Both parties have to have confidence. She has to have confidence in you, like faith. And then, me personally, in my experience, I would say if I didn't take it for granted, things probably would have worked different. I took it for granted. Also, integrity has to be there. Those two right there, at least, you know, and then of course the confidence between each other, you know, the faith.
All right.
I have to say true love, true unadulterated love, because once you got that true love, it kind of blankets everything. If I truly love you, I don't want another one. I don't want nobody else. If I truly love you, I'm gonna always be there to take care of you. If I truly love you,
I mean,
that's enough said.
That's a little too broad because love isn't nothing but a mass embodiment of all your emotions. So that means the good and the bad. Like if I tell you I love you, it's nothing you can do to change that. Nothing at all.
So you're speaking on like the degrees of love.
Exactly.
But everything has a degree. You know?
I mean,
like I love, you know what I mean? Love y'all niggas, man.
I ain't know
Love y'all, man. You know what I mean? It ain't no, but it's not the kind of love where you know you're gonna catch us shacking up. You know what I mean? It's not the kind of love that you're gonna see us, on some altar, walking the altar type of thing. You know what I mean?
if you ask. I'll be your cousin for life, bro.
So I understand what you're saying, and you as well.
Yeah.
But I think it might be a collective. You know what I mean? Of the things that y'all name. You know what I mean? Because they all have degrees to them. The love, the loyalty. You know what I mean? Integrity. It all has degrees to them. So I believe it might have to be, a combination of all those things.
I gotta add something.
Please.
We naming all the good shit we want. I ain't heard nobody say the attitude. I ain't heard nobody say, you know what I'm saying, mood changes. Like I need all of that because it makes you. Like I tell her, I'm in love with you because of your imperfections, because that's what makes you perfect. Period, point blank. I mean, I can't accept your attributes without your flaws.
See, that's another topic too, perfection.
And that's why I say true, unadulterated love, because I love it all.
Yeah,
gotta have it all. Good and the bad.
And since you mentioned that, we can just go ahead and take it into this one. Divorce to some is equally compared to sinning. What do y'all think about that?
I disagree too.
I had a lawyer in school to be a lawyer friend tell me, if you're married, never get divorced. If you're not married, don't get married. Wow. And he, he's on some legal type of side of it and the financial side of it and all that. But me personally, I believe that divorce may be necessary.
That doesn't make sense.
That's what he said. He said, if you're not married, don't get married because it's going to end up in divorce. If you're married, ultimately don't get divorced. That was his thing. You know what I mean? Because
he must have been speaking from his experience.
From a legal standpoint, though, he's trying to save those that's not married from the financial backlash of a divorce, and those that's already in it. Like, if you don't want to be hurt financially, y'all just stay with it.
Really, man, that's a double-edged sword, bro. Like, from a biblical standpoint, once you make that covenant in front of God, like, it's not to be broken. It can't be broken. And when you say you're there to death do you part, that's why I say I need the good. Hey, I want it all, and I want to see that before I say I do, because I need to know what it is I'm taking on. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is for life. This is not something that we gonna sit here and do in front of our family. Then a couple years later, like we splitting up. No. So it's really a double-edged sword. To some, it may save some if you're willing to pay out, but I mean, why would you walk down the aisle?
But hey, to the death for what though? What and what does death define? But that too is a topic.
In the grave,
living dead. You could be married and feel like you the living dead, and as far as y'all want to talk from a biblical standpoint, I'm not religious, but I can throw my opinions on there. As far as those of you that are religious, God forgives, right?
Yeah.
We human, we make mistakes.
Absolutely.
So one of our mistakes may have been choosing the wrong person.
Yeah.
And being married to that person, living a life of misery. I don't think God wants you to suffer. He's willing to forgive you. The point is not to get divorced. It is till death do you part. But in the grand scheme of things, we all forgiven for our mistakes. If you went into it with the right frame of mind and not like, I'm gonna marry this person for money.
But still,
I'm
a
marry this person
mistake,
to get a green card.
a mistake is something that you make unconsciously. When you walk down the aisle, you're conscious. You're conscious when the preacher says, when he asks you, do you want to get married with this person? I do, blah, blah, blah. You're consciously saying it. So you're consciously making this covenant in front of God. So that would be a mistake.
So let me say something though. What if it could be some things that don't even really come up until after later on, after you done made that commitment, then you're like, okay, I didn't even take in consideration.
Some people hide.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some people hide these flaws from real strong. You know what I'm saying? So and it may take them a longer time for you to see these flaws. But from what you've seen over this period of time, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
You get married and then they're like,
Yeah,
okay, I get to be
you
myself
years
now.
ago, though. You might
Let
have
me
just
tell you
known
how
it
it's
for
gonna
5
be.
years or 10 years, but you're talking a lifetime, so something might not come up until 15 years down the road.
So
You know?
that's when we need to have a discussion with ourselves to build the building with ourselves to see what would make me want to divorce this person, because it can't be but so much to make you want to say I'm done.
I think the biggest things causes of divorce, like I feel like it's necessary in some cases, like make mistakes. The biggest causes I think are finances and adultery. Those
Finances?
Finances.
What you mean?
That means like
Let you lose your job and get broke. She done paid bills for 3 months in a row, and you still ain't got no job and looking crazy and
that'll make you want to divorce.
Look, baby, that causes a lot of this.
You know what I'm saying?
But that make you want to divorce.
Or somebody being irresponsible with the money.
You said what?
Not, you know what I'm saying? Not taking care.
I can tell you. I can tell you, like, being married.
Leading call. Yeah,
it is. It's financial. Being married, you know, me and my wife, we got a family account. You know what I'm saying? So there's a set amount of money that goes into this account. And, you know, when she or I have struggled, the other one had to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
So if one person is struggling all the time, you carrying the weight of the home. You know what I'm saying? That becomes, that is a lot. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pay the rent. You gotta keep these lights on. You gotta feed your kids and all of that. And the person you with is a slacker and just like, pay them bills yet. You gonna go crazy because you busting your butt at work and nothing is being brought from the other end. So financially, that is something that can cause divorce in many cases.
All right, now let me ask, what are some of the mistakes that people make in relationships and marriage?
Take
Russian.
Russian?
Yeah.
Okay. And, yes, ma'am. And what advice would you offer them?
Take your time.
Take the time.
No dealing with.
I don't think you ever know a person. Like, you're not gonna ever fully know a person. It doesn't matter how long you've been with that person. Only reason why I say that is because some people change for the better and some people change for the worse. So the person that you married during your marriage, that person might not be that same person anymore. So if you made a commitment to marry this certain person and they're not that person anymore, then I feel like, I mean, you're not, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I feel like if you guys, people think as divorce as being a bad thing. Sometimes it's not a bad thing. You might just outgrow that person or they outgrew you. You guys are in totally different places. Everything has a season. And some people's seasons are longer than others. So if your season is up, why make you or that other person unhappy? Like, that's not the point of being married.
Which is why I say, take your time. We need to go through a season to see what this season is like, to see what the rest of the seasons are going to look like. And 2, you got to pay attention to who you're with, because everything my wife is showing me and doing now, or my estranged wife, I knew this and I saw this, but because I rushed and had sex with her and she was pregnant and we had a child together, I didn't take my time. If I would have took my time, that wouldn't happen. So seeing how I rushed into everything, you know, I tried to make something out of something that I already knew what it was. I knew what it was, you know, but like I said, that's why you got to take your time and you got to pay attention and accept what a person says and who they are
when a person lets you know who they are, that's who they are.
They
Don't
always put their
don't try to
words.
make it something else.
Right.
Prepare for the change, because it's going to come. Adopt with the change. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Adapt. I said adopt.
Yeah.
Adapt with the change, because change is going to come. Like, for a while, I was afraid of change, but you can't be afraid of change. Sometimes change is not a bad thing. You can't really answer that question.
No.
You know what I'm
You had to
saying?
be in that situation.
Like,
Who can't answer that?
I'm gonna be real, because, and this is on camera. Hell no. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But on some real stuff, like, I have, in my past, I done had guys try me. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I always had long hair, light skin, you know what I'm saying, growing up in school. So I done had, you know what I'm saying, dude try me. You know one of them.
Mhm.
And on some real stuff, like, I had to sever all times, because I know that's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has their own lane. And mine is the fast lane, staying focused, getting to my money, and women. That's it. Like, I never could consider or give that no thought, because I was raised different. Like, I was raised like women, men belong together.
I don't think
Men
I was raised
don't.
that way too.
I don't think it had nothing to do with how you raised. That's in you. Because if they raise you to like dudes, you gonna be out here looking for dudes. It ain't in you.
I don't know,
Yeah.
bro. I can't really say I believe that you was born that way, because I got cousins, right? I mean, I got first cousins, blood relatives that I played football with, beat up, we fought, fist, and they out here wearing lipstick.
That was in them somewhere. I mean, there's tough gay dudes out here. They
Yeah.
ain't boxers. You know what I'm saying?
I remember Krista told me, she said, was that you that said, no, that wasn't. You said, it's something that traumatized or changed you throughout,
Yeah.
growing up.
I feel like, I feel like some people may be born, you know what I'm saying, with the desire for the same sex. There could be genetics, there could be hormone issues, there could be, you have hermaphrodites. You have people that are born, that may be born with that, that situation going on. They grow into it confused, not knowing, and then as an adult, it might come out. Then you have some that may have been, abused as a child, traumatized, they as a child, it's not right, we're hiding it, I'm not gonna tell, but I think I enjoyed it, but I don't know. You know what I mean? So, as a child, you don't know. You're innocent. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things that can play into why a person may come out as an adult with those feelings and those thoughts and those desires.
A
It's a lot.
child can be abused. A little boy can be abused and grow up and be over sexual with women.
That's
So
true.
abuse can affect the child either way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How they're abused. Because it's older women that abuse a little boy, or older men that abuse a little girl, make a girl be over sexualized with dudes, or even might push her in the opposite direction. Like, I've been so hurt by this guy, I don't want nothing to do with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for the most part, in my belief, I feel like it's in you. And if you're in a house that teaches a child one man, one woman, and that's it. If it's in them to be gay, they just gonna learn how to hide it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And we're gonna talk. That's a topic for a different discussion. You know what I mean? And I will be asking you if you want to participate in that too as well. Is anybody else in here homosexual?
Okay. Right now, like 6 of us in here.
Somebody gonna whoop you like me.
Hey, man. Where you get that one, bro? Oh, man.
I know a lot of people. I know a good handful of people that are, male and female. And I'm straight, but I try not to pass judgment. I used to be a lot different, where it was hard for me to understand, accept, but because I know people personally, I can be open and talk about it, and then I can accept people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course, when you see certain things on TV, the flamboyance and stuff, it can be offensive. I make comments, teasing. Like she said, it's harder for people to accept a man being with a man versus a woman. But I'm open, to discuss that too.
Okay, cool. Would anybody else be interested in discussing opposite sex? I mean, the same sex topic.
I want to add on to the.
I'm
I want to add
no,
on.
but
This really don't got nothing to do. You can edit this out, but I just want to throw this out there. They say like female seem more natural or respected more than male on male. It's always been my opinion. You can say, you know, I'm a-hole for it or whatever. But two women together, to me, a woman's supposed to be feminine, right? And I'm more feminine than two women together. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing masculine about two men together. So in that aspect of it, that's why I think it seemed more accepted. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it was a real hard shorty with, you know what I'm saying? You look like, but just two feminine females, you're not like pushed away from it. But two guys together ain't nothing masculine
I don't know, man.
about two guys.
I can't even scratch my mind even
I'm
comprehend
like,
that.
camera, everybody like said, hell no.
If everybody's officially getting that out the way, right here, hell no. Just everybody's making it official. I'm like,
I agree though that you can't pass judgment, and you know you got to be willing to accept, you know, and you know, at least you know be real about it, and then you know go from there. Just you know, just don't make judgment. You can't, you know what I'm saying, teasing and stuff like that, but you can't treat people like something is wrong, like, you know, like they're just not, you know, that type of thing. But besides that, to each his own. That's how I feel. Me personally, I can't wrap, like, bro, I can't wrap my head around even trying to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know.
Right.